Hi guys, I'm Shmi and welcome to the Focus RS. Now I haven't featured this car properly for quite a while, and I noticed a lot of you were asking me where it was, and obviously it appeared in my video just before this, but not really. So I thought it was time to sort of take the car out for a drive, let you know that I've still got it, still works, everything's going as planned, and basically do a fuel for thought, sort of talking about a topic that is getting asked an awful lot that I'll come to in a moment. But firstly, the Focus RS, where's it been? Well, if you've been following for a while, you'll know that when I go away on long trips, and I'm often away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, sometimes more, sometimes I lend a car to my dad. So my dad has been enjoying the Focus RS. I say enjoying, I think it's a little bit too boisterous for him with the Mount Tune package and the Mount Tune exhaust. Bit on the noisy side, he prefers it a little bit quieter, so he enjoys the Vanquish, which he's got right now, even though he did tell me that it was too loud, so I'll let you know that now. He thought the Vanquish was too loud, but he's had this for the last month, so I've not really driven it, even though next month this car is going to be a year old. I'm going to have owned it since July last year, so it's getting to 12 months. That means I've got to re-tax it. I think it probably will need a service, maybe, we'll see, but it's done 8,316 miles, so it's getting driven more than I thought it would before I bought it. I mean, quite literally, this car is my daily driver. I bought it for sort of some specific purposes. I was just about to tell you the driving standards today have been shocking. That guy not noticing a green light there. I bought it for some specific purposes. I thought it might do 4,000 or 5,000 miles in the first year, but it's ended up doing 8.5. So I'm clearly using it. It's because it's a car I really enjoy. It's a car that is practical, fun still, has brilliant sort of technology, reliable, but less of a worry than, say, parking the FF somewhere, or obviously the McLaren or the GT8 or the Vanquish, and obviously slightly more reliable than the Mini. Different story, or slightly more comfortable than the Mini. You can use this for long journeys. You've got 5 seats if you need them. You've got a huge boot back behind. So I've ended up using the car all the time. And I'm going to talk about the option pack, the new version of this car, afterwards. But today's video is a fuel for thought. Those are the videos I shoot when we're driving around. We pick a topic in particular to talk about. And today's topic is going to be, as you already know, the topic about a hypercar versus a supercar fleet. Running one single hypercar rather than running a sort of fleet of cars, I suppose you can say, the garage or the collection that I have, and where's my car collection going as well. Now, I see loads of comments from you guys asking, when am I buying a Chiron? When am I buying a P1? When am I buying a Valkyrie? When am I buying a Project 1? When am I buying a 177? And out of all of those cars, well, the Chiron is £2.5 million. A P1 is currently about £1.5 million. Valkyrie, Project 1, they're both 2 plus, 177's about 2 million as well. So, long story short, those are really expensive. And if you take my entire car collection, so the McLaren 675 LT Spider, the Ferrari FF, the Aston Martin GT8, the Aston Martin Vanquish Volante, the Focus RS, and my Mini, the total is approximately £1 million. Literally for all of them. So I'm about £500,000 short even than a P1 if I sold everything. So if I went down to just having one car, one set of content, one car in one place, I could still not afford a P1. Woohoo! Let's go buy a P1. No, not even slightly happening. Now, not only that, it's not just the buy price, it's also the running costs, because a hypercar is a different league to these kind of supercars. So the LT Spider is also nearly a year. It'll be a year old in August. So 2 months time, and it will need its first service. It typically needs a service at 10,000 miles or 1 year. It's done about 7 and a bit so far, and the first service will come around, and that's going to be a little bit over £1,000, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500. If it was a P1, we would be talking 10 times that probably. Some huge amount of money. I don't even want to know. Even the LT Spider is pretty expensive, like when it comes to brakes, if anything happens, if it needs a new windscreen, anything like that can just cost a lot of money very, very quickly. So one of the main reasons for not going down the hypercar route is the sheer amount of money it actually costs before you even start thinking about the mileage. So in this car I've done 8 and a bit thousand, the LT 7 and a bit thousand in the last year. I think the FF's done maybe 10, the Mini's even done 2, the GT8's done about 3, the Vanquish has done about 5, so I haven't been keeping track in my head, but we're probably on roughly 40,000 miles a year in my own cars, not including the mileage I do in other cars. And 40,000 miles a year, if you did that on one single hypercar, like a P1, you'd be servicing it every 2 or 3 months, and goodness only knows what you would do to the value of it. If you did that kind of mileage every year in a hypercar, you can kiss goodbye to an awful lot of money. So for some bizarre reason, it actually makes financial sense to spread it out across cars and do typical annual mileages, which doesn't harm the value of them. I guess that's a complicated concept. You do still have to service every car, tax every car, insure every car, and I guess my fleet, as is typical, is between 1 and 2% of value, so just into 5 figures, just over £10,000 for me. That's, I guess, quite normal. Tax on the cars, roughly £500 a year for a supercar. We've got a really complicated tax system that's just come in the UK, and in the first year it's now £2,000, but then after like 7 years you don't pay anything anymore, or it's tiny. So complicated. I haven't quite got my head around that new system yet. Let's go this way. What else is there? And servicing, which, let's roughly speak, obviously Ferrari 7 years free servicing, regardless of mileage. But the McLaren and the Astons, I guess it's £1,000 a year each. The LT is actually cheaper than a 12C was to service, or would still be to service, because they made more parts, I guess, more have a longer lifespan, so they don't need servicing quite so often. So that's, I guess, a nice little touch. But cost-wise, even adding up all of those, still less than one hypercar. I mean, the insurance on a car like a P1, 20,000 a year just for one car. And that would probably just be me. I can't insure anybody else. Obviously, you see the other guys drive my cars. My parents drive my cars. I'm not too stressy, you know. I like to let those around me enjoy these cars as well. That's half the fun, I think, of owning them, is having your friends enjoy them as much as you do. So the costs rapidly can spiral if you do a single hypercar, so that's not going to happen anytime soon, even though I do have more cars on order, and people seem to get in a big muddle about this, so let's run over them. The AMG GT R, that is the next sort of car on order, new car, first hand, that kind of thing, that will be arriving in roughly October this year. I did a full video about that the other day, driving one in Germany, which was a lot of fun. So that's the next car. That has a list price of something like £153,000, I think. I've not gone too crazy on the options and the price and the specification of it. Then the next sort of hopeful car might be the 991.2 Porsche GT3. So I don't actually know that I'll get an allocation. I may well not, but I have obviously requested one. I bought my GT4 from a dealer. I sold it back through the dealer. So fingers crossed that puts me in a good position for an allocation. We will find out in due course, and obviously I will let you guys know, but I don't expect to hear anything for ages. So the new GT3 was released at the Geneva Motor Show, 4-litre engine, revving up to 9,000. It's going to be freaking awesome, available with a manual or with PDK. Don't know how I'd spec it, let's worry about that if I get the slot. But they're obviously in super high demand. There's no limited total number. It's not like a 911R when they only make 991 of them, or a 918 Spider where there are 918. It's limited sort of build numbers, but from what I understand, like, cars per dealer is a seriously small number. Like, we've only had the 2017 allocations, but even the 2018 is not going to be sort of a huge number. So basically my chances of a GT3 are quite low. Certainly nothing in the next 6 months, but I will let you know as and when I have any information. Then the next car, the Ford GT. So let's talk Ford GT, because there have been lots of people asking me, will I give up my slot? Will I still take it? Because I guess people have seen the reviews and aren't as entirely sure about it as the initial buzz. Now, for me as a buyer, there is something really special about that car. The way Ford have launched it, the way the storyline has gone, the specifics of it, and just, you look at the thing, just look at the pictures of the Ford GT and the way it sort of drops into race mode immediately and the wing goes back up. It's a race car with a road number plate, and there's something super, super special about that that just makes me go, you know, I am excited about this car. So I have no plans to cancel my Ford GT allocation. I may not get the car for a long time. I think officially, we're looking early 2019 for me. So somewhere now nearly 2 years away still, which is ages and ages. And it might not feel like a new car then, because it will have been on the roads for 2 years already. I mean, some people have just taken delivery, but that does mean there are plenty of cool videos out there to watch, and even for me to watch. So I couldn't tell you right now what the plans for the car are, because by the time it comes, there will no doubt be other new cars in the garage. Things that we don't even know are going to exist yet. There might even be a brand we don't even know about yet. So this is all going to be in due course, and I'll just update you as and when I know. Now, there are other cars, speculative cars, that I might have sort of put down my name for that haven't been released yet, but I think are coming. There are other cars I'm interested in if the market, or if my usage sort of meets up and everything aligns. Let's say McLaren 720S, I'd love one of those to try out. I might still look at a 991.1 GT3 RS, just because I've always had a fascination with that car. there are a number of options, a number of different things to look at and try. So obviously don't expect that the GTR, a potential GT3 and the Ford GT are the only cars that will come in the future. There'll be more. And another question this sort of presents is, will I keep some, will I sell some, or will I just keep everything? Well, I'm not going to keep everything. There are certain cars that I see as sort of collectible cars. The 675 LT Spider, limited to 500. The GT8, limited to 150. In the case of both of those, I've spec'd them in super sort of bespoke, unique configurations. My spec. That's because I don't care about resale. It's got nothing to do with resale. Those cars are for me. Those are the cars that I want to have and I want to own and I want to enjoy for as long as I can. Basically never selling them unless I either need to sell them for financial reasons or there's just no sense in that car anymore. So who knows what that means down the line. But then there are other cars like the FF and the Vanquish that I buy basically to run for a specific period of time or for a specific purpose or a specific trip or that kind of thing. So those cars, for example, you can expect they're going to move on. The Mini might have stolen a place in my heart, so that might be staying. The Focus will obviously go at some point, and we can talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The FF I've kept for way longer than I ever thought. I bought it before my LT Coupe or my GT4, both of which have obviously moved on to be replaced or superseded, I suppose I should say. But the FF has stuck around, and I don't really want to sell the FF until I can afford a GTC4 Lusso, so I'm waiting for used cars that will be in what I consider my price range, because it's going to have a depreciation cost, and I'm got to sort of be financially sensible about that. So let's say the AMG GTR, to me, I've not spec'd it in a sort of completely bespoke configuration because I only see it as a car I'm going to own for a period of time. I don't know whether that's a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's not leased, so there's no like specific time I have to keep it for. But it's not going to be like 10 years, well, unless I fall completely in love with it, in which case it might be, and then I might go and sort of sell it and buy a green Hell Magno one or something. I don't need to worry about that too much, fortunately. But Focus RS, so they've just released in the US the limited edition Focus RS, which comes in race red with a black roof, a black spoiler, RS badges and a front limited slip diff, and 1,000 of them in the US and 500 in Canada. But we don't have that in Europe, which sucks because we're a huge Focus RS market, particularly the UK. But I'm not going to have that option of buying one of those, unfortunately. What we have is the Focus RS with an option pack. Going across, yeah. With an option pack, which gives you the LSD and a couple of other parts, but it's still just nitrous blue Focus RS, so it's basically the same car. Now, I am loosely considering ordering one to have as like my second Focus RS after this one, just because I quite like cars being new. These are still trading at roughly list price. Honestly, this car's probably lost like £1,000, if that, versus what it costs to buy new, which is kind of cool to have driven it so much. So it's all about buying right, and obviously my FF and Vanquish will both have lost me a chunk of money, but if I had bought them not sensibly, they would have lost me a lot more money. So as it is, I'll get out of both without losing epic fortunes. The McLaren and the GT8, fortunately, both up a little bit, which will be nice, but like I said, no plans to sell them, and you only realise the profit, so to speak, on an investment vehicle car when you actually sell it. So if you don't sell it, you don't make any money, which kind of confuses everyone, but there we go. In the meantime, it just costs you more to insure it and to look after it, I guess, because you're worrying about how much more money it costs. Another thing I did want to talk about was a question that I see quite often about left-hand drive cars. Now, the UK is right-hand drive, but I seem to spend most of my time in countries where they are left-hand drive. Obviously, the whole of mainland Europe, basically. So, am I going to, at some point, buy a left-hand drive car? Now, the Ford GT is left-hand drive because they are only left-hand drive, but cars like the McLaren and GT8, I do vastly more miles in those cars in European countries than I do in UK country. This is England, Scotland, Wales, etc. And it probably makes sense at some point, but obviously all my communication is with UK dealers, UK cars. You can order left-hand drive here, but I've not done it yet. I thought about it a little bit for the AMG GTR, just because I envision using that car a lot around Europe, but I haven't done. Maybe I'll decide equally to sell it and buy a left-hand drive one down the line. So I don't really know. Watch this space. We will see what happens. Depends where I decide to spend most of my time, because I'm partly tempted to spend a lot more time in southern Germany or in northern Italy, southern France, something, just to make the journeys less, because I'm frequently flying backwards and forwards from all of these sort of mainland cities: Milan, Bologna, Nice, Marseille, Stuttgart, Frankfurt, Munich, you get the point. It's literally like a circle backwards and forwards around Europe. So we'll see what happens on that front. No need to make a decision quite yet. We'll just go with it at the time, basically. But for now, I think I've basically answered the question. I can't afford a hypercar yet. Maybe one day. Different sort of little things going on in the background, some of which are going pretty well. We'll see what happens. For now, that's what's going on. That's the story. Just enjoyed taking out the Focus RS for a little drive, seeing how it is. All seems pretty well. Still a car that's just awesome fun to drive and enjoy and use in this kind of way. So I think I will pretty much wrap up this fuel for thought there. If you have any more questions, let me know. As always, I will try and do my best to cover the sort of topics you guys are interested in. We'll see what sort of questions are coming up most frequently and base, I guess, my videos around those. Anyway, let's leave that off for the moment. I'll wrap this one up there. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.